Lalagay nagsulti. Isa na magsulti. Hindi, uy. Kinsa yun na magsulti? Ikaw, Angelo? O si Adrian?
Nag-recording na po.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are the balik.
Laos lang.
It's ano. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Adrian Salimbot, and I will tackle about warm up. So taking a few minutes for a low intensity full body exercise is classified as a warm up. So what is warm up? Next. A warm up is any activity, either physical or mental, that helps to prepare an individual for demands of their chosen sport or exercise. A structured warm-up routine should be estimated when it comes to preventing sports injury. Warming up allows your body to prepare for the activity that will follow. You should warm up before stretching, because stretching cold muscles can lead to injury. Next. There are two types of warm-up. First is the general warm-up. It is usually performed in all types of activities such like jogging, running, jumping, stretching, calisthenics, striding, wind sprint, and other general exercise. It increases coordinative abilities and flexibility of muscles and joints. The aim of general warm-up is simply to elevate the heart rate and respiratory rate. This in turn increases the blood flow and helps with the transportation of oxygen and nutrients to the working muscles. This also helps to increase the muscle temperature, allowing for a more effective static stretch. The second type of warm-up is the specific warm-up. In this type of warm-up, specific types of exercises are performed after the activities of general warm-up. The specific type of warming up differs from activity to activity. Specific warm-up increases temperature using similar biomechanics that are to be used in subsequent, more strenuous activity. Some of the best ways to perform a specific warm-up is to perform the upcoming exercise to a slow pace. Next. These are the examples of general warm-up. The general warm-up should consist of a light physical activity like walking, running, etc. The next examples of specific warm-ups is slow swim and jumping jacks. The purpose of the general warm-up is to increase the functional potential of the body as a whole, whereas the purpose of specific warm-up is to establish the optimal relationship between forthcoming movements of the activity.
Okay, next, Ate Termela.
Okay. Thank you, Adrian. So, let's now proceed to the Okay, thank you, Adrian. Let's proceed to the benefits of warm-up. Please share my screen. Okay, you can see in my screen what are the benefits of warm-up exercise. Next, please. As we can see, the warm-up exercise, it can improve our body conditions, especially if we warm up, our temperature will increases. Then our blood vessel, including our tiny capillary, also the blood releases more oxygen that we will need for our workout. Then our muscles will contract more quickly as they become warmer. Then the effect, our joints will loosen up, then our brain engage with the body, and our heart rate will increase slowly. Then the warm-ups also make exercise less stressful for our heart. And also, warm-up prepares our mental for the upcoming exercises. It decreases the chance of pulling a muscle. Also, it decreases our joint pain, decreases and change of injury, the chance of injury, and also warm up can reduce muscle soreness after exercise. And also, one study found that warm-up routines before the number of our muscular muscle, which make up over 30% of the injuries in sports medicine clinic. So, makasave ang warm-up para dili ta masakitan after nato or before ta nga mag-exercise or magbuhat o mga workout. Next slide, please. Okay, also warm up for light physical activity will take around 2 minutes and involve light aerobic activity, some dynamic stretching movements, and appropriate for the activity you're about to perform. So in short, warm up gradually revs up your cardiovascular system by raising our body temperature and increasing blood flow to our muscles, and also help reduce muscle soreness and lessen our risk of injury. Next slide, please. Okay, the examples of a warm-up. As you can see, we have fast-paced walking, squats, lunges, walking up and down the stairs, arm swings, fast race, side stepping, and jogging on the spot. So, pag inana atong mga gibuhat, so pwede na siya mag-serve as warm-up para sa pag-start sa atong workout. So, karon na ako'y kanang simple warm-up. May video clip ko nga gibuhat para before nga mag-workout. Display. Lang. Wala siya na play.
Thank you, Ate Carmela Simonga. Okay, I am Andrew. My report is strength training. Strength training or resistance training involve the improved
Pwede yan, next.
endurance.
Next na lang, teacher.
It is often associated with a lifting of weight. It can also incorporate a variety of training techniques such as calisthenics, isometrics, and plyometrics. When properly performed, strength training can provide functional benefits and improvement in overall health and well-being, including increased muscles, tendon, ligament, and bone strength and toughness. Improve joint function, reduce potential for injury, increase bone density, increase metabolism, increase fitness, and improve cardiac function. Training commonly uses the techniques progressively increases the force input of the muscles through incremental weight increase, the uses variety of exercise and type of equipment to target specific muscles group. Strength training is primarily an anaerobic activity, although some proponents have adopted it to provide the benefits of aerobics exercise through circuit training. Strength training typically produces lactate in the muscles, which is limiting factor of exercise performance. Regular endurance exercise leads to adaptation in skeletal muscles, which can provide lactate levels from rising during strength training. Okay, the uses of strength training. The benefits of strength training include greater muscular strength, improved muscle tone and appearance, increased endurance, cardiovascular health, and enhanced bone density. Increased physical attractiveness. Many people take up strength training to improve their physical attractiveness. There is evidence that the body type consisting of broad shoulder and narrow waist, attainable through strength training, is most physical attractive male attribute according to women participating in research. Di ba mo kuan sa kasagarang mga babae kay mas ma-attract sila sa mga men nga dagkog muscles nga na, pero in research na na-proven nga kuan ka-increase siya sa physical attractiveness. Next is general physical health. Bones, joints, frailty, posture, and in people at risk. Strength training also provides functional benefits, stronger muscles, improve posture, provide better support for joints, and reduce the risk of injury from everyday activity. Older people who take up weight training can prevent some of lost muscle tissue and normally accompanies aging or sarcopenia. And even regain functional strength, and by doing so become less frail. Progressive resistance training may improve function, the quality of life, and reduce pain in the people at risk of fracture. Weight-bearing exercise also help to prevent osteoporosis and to improve bone strength. Those with osteoporosis, the benefits of weight training for older people in their 80s and 90s. The next is cardiovascular system and metabolism. Through strength training can stimulate the cardiovascular system. Main exercise of psychologists Based on their observation, maximal oxygen uptake argue the aerobic training is a better cardiovascular stimulus. Central of catheter monitoring during resistance training reveals increased cardiac output, suggesting the strength training shows potential for cardiovascular exercise. Strength training may be important of metabolic and cardiovascular health. Recent evidence suggests the resistance training may reduce metabolic and cardiovascular disease risk. Overweight individual with, with high strength fitness exhibit of metabolic and cardiovascular risk profile similar to normal weight fit individual rather than overweight and unfit individuals. Sorry. The next is for rehabilitation of address impairment. For many people in rehabilitation with an acquired disability such as following stroke or orthopedic surgery, kanang naigi di surgery in sa bukog. Strength training for weakness muscles and key factors of optimized recovery. For people with such a health condition, their strength training likely to need to be designed by appropriate health professionals such as psychotherapists and occupational therapists. The next, increased sports performance. Stronger muscles improve performance. The variety of sports-specific training routine are used many competitors. There's often specified that speed and muscle construction during weight training should be same of the practical sports. Like sa athletes, they need strength training para ma-improve ang ilang muscles niya, mas like weightlifting, mo na athletes na running for lower extremities. And the next is for the pressure of activity. One-sided effect in strength exercise is improved mood, with effects being most noticeable when mood is poor before exercise. When exercise competitive effects depend on the degree of success, regular physical exercise has been shown to be related to lower depression, deeper symptoms, anxiety, and lower emotional distress, and lower fatigue. Even physically fit people who did not regularly exercise were poor mood than physical fit people who did not regularly exercise were more likely have developed depression after the 8 years follow-up. Analysis of research has demonstrated that many people benefits the exercises mediate through the role skeletal muscles of endocrine organ that is contracting muscles release multiple substances known myokines which promote the growth of new tissue repair, and various anti-inflammatory function, with in turn reduce the risk of developing various inflammatory disease. Makalas din siya sa guys, sa depression, anxiety, and distress and lower fatigue. Okay, next. Principle of training methods. The basic principle of strength training involves repeat overloading of group muscles, typical by lifting or lowering heavy weights, and 4 to 12 consecutive repetition until failure. Equally important is the progressively increase the lift weight by each week of training. With lifting the weight, involved muscles are shortening, performing so-called concentric or muscle construction. The weight let's go to terminology. Strength training has a variety of terms used to describe parameters of strength training. One is siyang sulod sa terminology, the exercise, the form, and in short of repetition, set, and tempo. Let's go to exercise. Different movements which involve rotation joints, specific patterns challenge muscles in different way. And the form, each exercise has specific form, a topography of movement designed to maximize safety of muscle strain, gain na siya ikuan ng sakto nga porma para dili ka magkakuan gani magkasakit sa imong mga joints. And the rep or short of repetition, a rep of single cycle of lifting of lowering a weight in a controlled manner of moving through form of the exercise. Kung kapila siya balikon. And the set consists the several repetition performed one after another with no break between them with the number of rep per set and set per exercise depending on goal of individual. The number of repetition one can perform the certain weight is called a rep maximum or RM. For example, if people perform 10 at 25 pounds, then that weight will be their 10 RM or rep maximum is therefore maximum weight which someone can lift in exercise. Example, a weight that they can only lift once without a break. Tempo. The speed with which exercise perform a tempo movement has implication for weight can be moved the effects on the muscles. Tempo kanang like mag-push up ka, like dili nimo paspason gani. Kanay ka down nimo hinay, ikabalik nimo paspas. Mana siya. Next, the realization of training goals. For developed endurance, gradual increase in the volume of gradual decreases in intensity. In the most effective program set 13 or 20 repetition develop aerobic endurance, some increased muscle size, limited impact of strength. It has been shown the beginner and multiple set training offer minimal specific over single set training with respect either strength gain and muscle mass increase, but for experience of athlete, multiple set system are required optimal progress. However, one study shows that for leg muscles, 3 set and more effective than 1 set. The progressive overload. The basic method of weight training uses the principle of progressive overload, in which the muscles overloaded by attempting lift at least as much weight as are capable. The response by growing larger, the stronger this procedure is repeated, progressively heavier weight as a practitioner gain strength and endurance. However, performing exercise at the absolute limit of one strength, known as a 1 rep max lift, it's considered too risky for all but most experienced practitioners. Moreover, most individuals wish to develop combination strength, endurance, muscle size, 1 repetition set, and not well suit the impractical their lifter and weight more repetition to fatigue muscles and fiber within the muscles as required by progressive overload principle. The split training. Split training is involved working no more than 3 muscles group of body parts per day. Or daghan ang i-kuan niya ba? I-exercise naman na klase nga kuan, upper extremities, lower, and abs. And something arms, legs, and ano. Next, the intensity and volume and frequency. 3 important variables strength training are intensity, volume, and frequency. Intensity refers the amount of work required to achieve the activity of proportional to the mass of the weight. Volume refers to the number of muscles work, exercise sets, and reps during the single session. Sorry. Frequency refers to how many training session o perform per week. So ang intensity kay amount of work. Ang volume, the numbers of the muscle work like exercise, sets, and repetition. Ang frequency, how many training session o perform per week. Ano siyang klaseng-klaseng buwan. Variables of strength training. The periodization. Ang periodization man siya ang program sa imong kuan pag training makita nimo unsay kalabasan gani. Dito nimo isuwat ang imong kuan ng volume, intensity, and frequency over time to both stimulate gains and allow recovery. Ano siya? Next, the specific form of strength training. The body squat, effective strengthening the legs and the core, and requires no equipment, can be performed almost anywhere. A person stand with their arms and their sides and then squat down, moving their arm is overhead themselves, and then stand up again and moving their arms back, their sides, and so forth. There are many methods, strength training, example, man siyang kuan. Weight training, flywheel training, circuit training, calisthenics, isometrics, exercise niya, gymnastics, plyometrics, parkour, yoga, pilates, super slow. Ano siya ang mga training sa kuan strength training? Sample sa strength training. Yeah, strength training may done with minimal or no equipment. For instance, body weight exercise. Equipment used to strength training includes barbells and dumbbells, weight machine and other exercise machine, weight clothing, resistance band, gymnastics apparatus, speech bowls, wobbles board, Indian clubs, and pneumatic exercise equipment and hydraulic exercise equipment. The practice of weight training. Aerobic exercise various anaerobic exercise. Strength training exercise primarily aerobic, even while training of lower intensity training exercise may specific muscles group, advanced techniques, manisya ang set structure, drop sets, pyramid sets, and drop sets, manisya ang push up, pyramid sets, born out, diminishing set, wrist pose, gain set, and combined set. Combined set, manisya ang matawag og circuit training, beyond failure, and velocity-based training, and FT7 and other techniques. Combined techniques. techniques. Strength training may involve the combining of different training methods such as weight training, plyometrics, bodyweight exercise, and ballistic exercise is often done in order to improve the person's ability to apply strength quickly. In other words, improve their ability to apply exclusively power. Marsha ang loaded plyometrics involves additional weight jumping exercise, complex training, sometimes incorrect of contrast training, ballistic training, sometimes refers of the power training, contrast training, the alternation of heavy and light load, bodybuilding. It's a sport which goal increase muscle size and definition of bodybuilding increase endurance of muscles as well as strength through not as much as they were primarily goals. Let's go to nutrition. Minimally processed of foods are best of sports weightlifting nutrition lead protein, complex carb and fiber, especially when you're trying to lose weight. Your body needs proteins such as turkey, non-fat Greek yogurt, fish, and egg whites to build muscles and stay full. Young sex, difference in training or gender. Men are higher percentage of fast switch type of muscle fiber. Muna siya ang kuhan ng gender difference of major marker of metabolic health. Mas sa muscle mass mas dako ang kuhan sa laki. Body fat mas paspas ang kuhan sa babae. Incidence of elevated fasting glucose mas kuhan ang laki. Ang glucose clearance rate gamay ra siya giga sa laki sa babae. Ang rate of glucose uptake in muscles kay mas dako ang kuhan sa babae. Ang history day sa kuhan sa strength training kay muna siya si kuhan Arthur's season of performing two hands anyhow the early of kettlebell and plate loaded barbell. Until the 20th century, the history of strength training was very similar of history weight training. With advent of modern technology, materials of knowledge, the method can use for strength training has multiple significantly. Hippocrates explained the principle behind strength training when he wrote that which is used develop and the which is not used waste away, referring to muscular hypertrophy and atrophy. Progressive resistance training dates back less of ancient Greece when legend has it that wrestler Milo of Croton trained the carrying newborn calf of his back every day until it was fully grown. Other Greek, the physician Galen, described strength training exercise using the halteres. The 2nd century, Asian Persian used the mills, which became popular during 19th century's Indian club and recently made comeback in the form of club bell. And the dumbbell was joined by the barbell with later half of 19th century. Early dumbbell had hollow globes and cold field sand and lead shot. With century were replaced by plate loading barbell commonly used today. Yang special population safety concern related to children and for other older adult. Orthopedic specialists used to recommend that children avoid weight training because of the growth of plates on their bones might be at risk. For older are prone of loss the muscle strength. With more strength, older adults have better health, better quality of life, better physical function, and fewer falls. And that's all for strength training. Thank you.
Me, Angelo, na. Ako pa. Mm. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, I'll be the one who discuss about madungog ako. Madungog ako, Jilo.
Yes po, yes po.
So, I'll be the one who discuss about aerobic exercise. So, sige. Slide. So, what is aerobic exercise? Aerobic provides cardiovascular conditioning. The term aerobic actually means with oxygen, which means that breathing controls the amount of oxygen that can make it to be muscles to help them burn fuel and move. Okay. Next slide, Jilo. So aerobic is a form of physical exercise that combines rhythmic aerobic exercise with stretching and strength training routines with a goal of improving elements of fitness. So there are 6 benefits of aerobic exercise. First is to improve cardiovascular conditioning. Second is decreases risk of heart disease. Third is lower blood pressure. Fourth, increases HDL or good cholesterol. Fifth, help to better control blood sugar. Sixth, assist in weight management and weight loss. Lastly, improves lung function. So there are some example of aerobics exercise. Swimming. So what is swimming? What is swimming helps for aerobic exercise? It also helps by keep your heart rate up but take some of the impact stress of your body, build endurance, muscle strength, and cardiovascular fitness, and also help to maintain a healthy weight, heart, and lungs. So next. Cycling. So what is cycling? Cycling is mainly an aerobic activity, which means that your heart, blood vessels, and lungs all get a workout. Deeper, perspire, and experience increased body temperature, which will improve your overall fit level. So walking. Walking is the one of aerobic exercise that is long enough and breathe rate. Aerobic rate keep your for 30 to 15 minutes. And lastly, rowing. So what is rowing? Arms, legs, and core, cardiovascular endurance. In short, if you consistently use the routine machine, a rowing machine, you will notice that you will become stronger and less out of breath. So, importance of aerobic exercise. It reduces the risk of many conditions. These risk conditions include obesity, heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, stroke, and certain types of cancers. Weight-bearing aerobic exercises such as walking help lower the risk of osteoporosis. So that's all. Thank you. is Andrian. I will be the one to talk about flexibility exercises. Next ko pa yung the range of movement in a joint or a series of joints and muscles that crosses the flexibility exercises is a movement or position designed to stretch a specific muscle with the goal of increasing flexibility and the range of motion in a specific area. Please connect. Types of flexibility. First is a static flexibility. Refers to person's full range of motion that can be achieved without movement. This means how far you are able to raise your band in a stretch and then hold it there without any excess movement. Our body is passively holding a position because it has the capacity to go to that range of motion comfortably. Static flexibility is found through static stretching. Static flexibility training like static stretching should only be done after the body has been thoroughly warmed up so that you can reach your full range of motion without risk of injury. So example of static flexibility. I have your upper back stretch, shoulder stretch, and calf stretch. So this exercises is dili kay kita mag-exert og force pagayo. Next is dynamic flexibility. Refers to the body ability of the muscle and joints to move through a full range of motion during activities. This kind of flexibility helps your body to safely move through both everyday activities and athletics. It increases performances while decreasing the risk of injury. Dynamic flexibility is found through dynamic stretching. Dynamic flexibility training, similarly to dynamic stretching, should be done before a workout to warm up the body. It is not ideal for increasing flexibility, but it will give you the range of motion you need for a workout without sacrificing performances. For example, trunk twisting. So I have here a video. So trunk twisting. Raise your both hands up to chest level with the palm facing each other. Next, twist your body towards right side so that the left side arm touches the left shoulder. Repeat in the other side and do it slowly. Next example is butt kicks.
Stand erect with your feet hip width apart, chest out and shoulders back, maintaining the natural curvature in your back. Your knees should be unlocked and arms by your side. Now, butt kickers are a great cardio drill that you can add to any workout just to get your heart rate up and burn calories, but they also make for a really great warm-up. Because when you do butt kickers, you warm up those quads, you stretch them, and you warm up those knees. So here's how you're going to start. I'm turning sideways so you can see. You're basically going to bend that knee up and try to get the heel up towards your butt and keep switching sides. As you do that, you'll feel it through your quads, you'll feel your knees start to warm up, you can start nice and slow and keep them low impact. But as you pick up the pace, you'll start to add the impact to drive those heels all the way up to your glutes. And you can get your arms moving and breathe through your mouth. If you heart rate up, you'll warm up the front of the leg and you'll feel great.
Next example is the walking high kicks.
Stand erect with your feet hip width apart. Chest up. Stand erect. Stand erect with your feet hip width apart. Chest out and shoulders back, maintaining the natural curvature in your back. Your knees should be unlocked and arms by your sides. This is your starting position. Keeping your legs straight, kick one leg directly out in front of you as high as you can while simultaneously extending the opposite side arm to touch it. Maintain good form while trying to kick your foot to shoulder height. Lower your leg so that it's well in front of the other one and step forward with the opposite side. Continue to move forward as you alternate sides for the required number of repetitions.
So that is the example of dynamic flexibility. Next is active flexibility. The ability you have to hold or pull your body into its maximum range of motion. This method of improving flexibility involves active contraction of muscle as a way to set an opposing muscle with no external force. It is active because your muscles are firing while you stretch in order to hold the limb or position in place. Active flexibility builds strength while also increasing range of motion. This could be considered a workout in itself, as it is activating muscle in a way that it is similar to yoga. It can be done before or after physical activity or in its own. So I have here an example. Next. First is the cobra pose. This one is child pose. Then lastly, the hip flexor pose. So this exercises is like mga yoga nga exercise ang nabilong aning active flexibility. Next. Benefits of flexibility exercises. First is mobility. It is the ability to move your entire body freely and normally. If you have great mobility, you're able to move functionally and efficiently with little to no restriction or difficulty. Next is the muscle flexibility and recovery. Another benefit of flexibility is increased muscle recovery. Whether you work out frequently, do repetitive movement throughout your day, or find that your muscles are just stiff and sore in general. Flexibility can help to speed up this recovery time. Feel as sore and will be able can also help to greatly improve your athletic performances overall. Because of this. Next, lastly is decreased injury. In part, this is due to the fact that if an accident were to happen, the more flexible you are, the less likely your body is to end up in a position past this range of motion, causing injury. It also helps that you are keeping your muscles and joints supple, which will stop overuse injuries. Overuse injuries are caused by physical activity when the area is not flexible enough to be performing that movement in the arm way. Increasing flexibility will decrease injuries. So there are many benefits of flexibility exercises, but these three nga akong gihatag is the most or the greatest nga benefit nga ato makuha of being flexible. Next. Importance of flexibility. Flexibility is an important component of physical fitness and has many positive effects on the body. For instance, it improves mobility, posture, muscle coordination, reduces the risk of injuries and muscle soreness. It better overall shape. Next. So that's my sources. That's all about flexibility, and thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roy Tongsa. Bakit ba po guys? So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roy Tongsa, and I'm going to talk about stretching. So let's commence. So now let's talk about stretching. But first, we have here learning outcomes. So first, what is stretching and distinguish stretching? This form of stretching my body. Understand that the concept and so what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning? Basically, we stretch, and yet you are not the only one doing that. Along with humans, some animals like your pet, cat, or dog also instinctively stretch after they wake up from the long sleep. Except what those animals are doing isn't called stretching. It's called pendiculating. From the word pendiculating, it is the act of stretching while yawing. It's from the Latin word pandere. It means stretch. You've likely seen plenty of cats and dogs pendiculate. Well, you might be wonder why I use animals as an example of stretching. As an example of stretching. Not only humans can do stretch, but also can animals. Animals too. Well, humans manipulate too often first thing in the morning. This is instinctive movement is the one where you extend your legs, raise your arms, and tilt your head up and down. So why do we pandiculate in the morning, and why do we stretch in general? Think of it like this. Your alarm clock wakes you up, and stretching wakes you up. Your sleepy muscles as it makes you feel good. Stretching is a good for your body in all kinds of ways. Your muscles typically feel stiff and tight in the morning from lack of movement. That's because many people lie in the same position for much of the night. So bisan pag nagigit-ligid ka diha, it doesn't mean na stretch ang imong lawas. So stretching also gets your body back. While you sleep, your muscles relax and your blood flow will increase, slowing your heart rate way down. In fact, your heart rate is usually at its lowest just before you wake up. A big stretching increases your blood flow to your extremities, improving your circulation. This combination of those muscles and increased circulation also helps with flexibility maintenance. So the reason you instinctively manipulate in the morning is basically to reboot your body. It realigns your muscles and it improves your circulation and it makes you more flexible. In addition, stretching has also shown to relieve stress and tension and solid. So has shown meaning pandiculation might have the overwhelming. So what? So there are four types of stretching, which is active stretching is a method of improving flexibility. It involves active contracting of one muscle. The next passive stretching. It is a method in which you stay stretched in a position for extended period of time. Third is dynamic stretching. It refers to an active movement where joints and muscles through a pull of motion. Fourth is proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Stretching is more advanced form of flexibility learning training. Then there are benefits benefits of stretching. It can improve your performance. It can decrease your risk of injuries, help your joints move through their whole of range of motion, increase muscle blood flow, involve your muscle to work most effectively, improve your ability to daily activities. So these are the formation of a human body figure about stretching exercise that you might be able to perform with your own. Example, a quad stretch. A quad stretch is a lower body movement that expands and contracts the muscles at the front of your thigh. Second is standing shoulder stretch. It can help you relieve much tension, pain, and tightness in the neck of shoulders. Next example of stretching, band stretch. It can improve mobility. Resistant bands were a great way to help you improve your flexibility, but you can also use them to improve your joint mobility. And fourth is standing lunge. Help to tighten these muscles and provide better flexible and range of motion. So, in addition, the importance of stretching is to keep the muscle flexible, strong, and healthy, and need the flexible to maintain as a range of motion in the joints. Without it, the muscle shorten and become tight. Then you can call on the muscle for activity. They are weak and unable to extend all the way. So that's it for today's.
Please go sa slides, Angelo. Circuit training. Circuit training is a combination of 6 or more exercises performed with a short rest period between them for either a set number of repetition or a prescribed amount of time. So circuit training is a form of body conditioning that involves endurance training, resistance training, high intensity aerobics, and exercise performed in a circuit. Similar to high intensity interval training,